So we've just got to the Hoover Lodge Casino, and this is where we're going to take the boat trip from. We've got about half an hour to go before we check in, so we're just going to check out this Hoover Lodge now. And we've got there the Hoover Rafting adventure van, so that's probably the van we're going to be going in. It is getting warmer, so it is quite hot now.
Good morning, it is good morning. Are you going on a raft trip with us? Lovely. Have you met Scott yet? Have you spoken to anybody?
No.
Oh,
no.
well, good. What is my name? So, welcome. I'm one of the drivers. I'm going to be in that one, and Scott's inside signing people in. Can I ask, do you see your name here?
Yeah, Darryl Pritchard.
And you're already signed in?
We are.
Electronically. I love you. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Let's see, who do we have here? That's it. I don't know. Scott's inside doing something. And I just got here, so I know nothing.
So me and Glenn are brothers. We do a YouTube channel.
Is
and we're going to be
that
putting
right?
this on YouTube, so have a look at it.
Well, God love you. I will.
And we will be advertising you as much as we can to get people to
Well, I hope
come and do this fabulous trip.
I hope we're worthy.
Yeah, I'm sure we will.
Earn your support.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube and everything.
Run by a company out of Virginia called Guest Services Incorporated, and they have concessions around the country in a variety of national parks, including the Everglades and Mount Rainier, Lake Roosevelt in Washington State, and New York Fair Mountain. A few things. They're all over the country, all over the place. This company got sort of grandfathered in because they were before the Park Service closed off the winding narrow road that will be going down.
Oh, here we go. Let's jump in the van.
You're all excited and ready to go?
Very, very excited, yeah.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. Let's make it like a baby and we'll head out.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, by the way, my name is Scott, for everybody who doesn't know. I'm not Mr. or Sir or anything else. I'm no more, no less, I'm just Scott. So real quick, we're leaving a casino. It's the only place you're going to find a casino in the middle of a national recreation area. Anybody got any clues as to why that is?
No idea, Scott, on that one.
Okay. Reason is when they went to build a Hoover Dam, this was an active working gold claim. So, as such, they couldn't touch the property, and it's still a gold claim. A casino is a business where you go in and hand somebody your money. That's simply it. And if anybody needs a tip on how to make a small fortune in Las Vegas, your driver Scott will help you out. It's really simple. Go walk into a casino with a large fortune, and I guarantee you when you leave, you will have a small fortune.
There's only one winner, yeah?
Well, no winners built any of those large, pretty casinos in Las Vegas.
No.
On the left-hand side, we see some little mountains over there. Behind those mountains or under those mountains is a series of railroad tunnels that go down to the dam. You can park at the park entrance, and you can ride your bicycle or walk all the way down to the dam. It is a lot of fun. I can tell you, it's not as much fun to come back up in a hot afternoon day. Right hand side, we see a parking lot. This is the parking lot to the Gold Strike Hot Springs. At the 5-mile mark in Arizona, we have a parking lot also for the Arizona Hot Springs. This time of year, both of those are shut off. May 15th through September or later, they shut off because Park Service was devoting too much resources to rescuing people from the heat and everything like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Down below us, we have the I-11. The cities of Las Vegas and Phoenix were the last 2 major cities in the United States to have a freeway built between them. That is the freeway. Prior to that, every bit of traffic was on this little 2-lane road right here. It's a series of switchbacks on the Nevada side, and even more on the Arizona side. On a 3-day holiday weekend, oftentimes the traffic was packed from the dam all the way up to Boulder City, all the way out of Boulder City and into Henderson, leading to between an hour and a half and a 2-hour backup, 2.5 hour backup. So we're glad it's there. When we get down to the dam today, we will see the bypass bridge. The bypass bridge is quite a structure. You will be amazed when you see it. When you cross it from the top, it's definitely not that impressive of a structure because it has big old Jersey barricades on it to keep looky-loos from looking around.
Yeah.
And it also, because every once in a while high winds go through there. So it's a really neat structure. You can go just past where we are going to turn down and go through the federal checkpoint and go to a parking lot and walk out on the bridge. And yes, you can stand in the state of Nevada and Arizona at the same time. And again, the state is Nevada. It has to hurt your face when you say the name. On we go. When we make this next curve, if you guys look off to your right hand side, you will see the lower Portal Road. That's where we're going to be going down that little road down there. I see people riding bicycles right now on the road down. If you look at them, they look like they're riding on top of the awnings over there.
Yeah.
They're actually not. There's a road behind it. Slow let these guys out because we're going where they're coming out. The last of the tunnels comes out right behind us on this left-hand side, underneath the scenic overlook. Traffic trying to go over. Oh, he's doing a good job. He's supposed to wait for it to shut the whole way before he takes off.
Make sure you don't go down.
We are going down the lower Portal Road. That's what it says. The lower Portal Road starts down here at the dam, comes all the way on up, turns into the Boulder Highway, and would end on today what's Fremont Street in Las Vegas. So that was the original road when they originally built the dam. Videotaping this whole thing.
Yeah. It's going to be good.
Okay, this road originally was not paved. It was just a dirt road. To get workers down to the dam, they took an old Mack truck and they put a flatbed on it. They elevated, put a second flatbed on top of it. It would fit 70 to 75 men on each level of this thing, standing room only, and would ride down to the dam. This ride should take us about 8 minutes. It could take them 30 minutes to 45 minutes depending. And they would be passing each other coming up and down this road. And the workers would not get paid till they got down to the bottom and clocked in at the job site. Try not to see anything, man. Oh Lord. A lot of these guardrails were not originally here when they were originally coming down to the dam. And as they had washouts and stuff, it just made it a rougher trip to go down. front of us, we see a stone structure over there. On that deck over there, that flattened area, they had a series of settling tanks. So they pumped the water up from the Colorado River. It was a mess. It was a mighty, muddy, murky mess. The old adage was that the Colorado River water was too thick to drink, but too thin to plow. So they pumped the water up into the series of tanks, settled out the dirt and debris before they pumped it to 7 more miles up to Boulder City. On the right hand side, about halfway up, we see a little stone wall. Make you think you're in Connecticut someplace, 4 or 5 rocks high. Inside of that is the pipe that came up from the river. And as we make this next bend, we will see exposed where the pipe is. It's the original pipe for pumping the water up
Oh, you can see,
to Boulder
yeah.
City. You can see all kinds of unique creatures down in here, guys. It is not uncommon for us to see sheep down in here either. Next thing we're going to come to is where they stored the dynamite. There's 2 little brown structures on the right hand side with white doors on them. They would store the dynamite in little rooms there because it was cool. At no point did they ever put the dynamite on the truckloads of men. They would have runners run the dynamite up and down the hill. If they needed a stick, they brought a stick. If they needed 3 sticks, they brought whatever they needed up and down the hill. But no point did you leave extra dynamite out here. Dynamite sweats, we get nitroglycerin, which is not good. You don't want a pile of nitroglycerin out there. Next thing we're going to see is a Michael Callahan Pat Tillman Memorial Bridge. Michael Callahan was twice governor of the state of Nevada, war hero, and Pat Tillman played football for ASU, went in and did military service, came out of the military, was playing football for the Arizona Cardinals. For the first Gulf War started up, he went back into military service and he didn't survive. It's one of the largest concrete arch bridges in the world. It's supposedly the largest concrete arch bridge in the West, and the deck of that is about 900 feet off of the water. It's a pretty impressive structure, and when we stop, you'll be able to get a picture of yourselves with that bridge and the dam in the background. So as we look across the way, we see a whole bunch of tailings, loose gravel and stuff. So to build a dam, you build a cofferdam, a temporary dam upstream. You build a temporary dam downstream. You divert the water around the site, you clean out the site, and that's where you build your dam. That's where they cleaned out the site, off the walls, canyon walls, plus the site. They also hauled some through a tunnel down here to the right-hand side.
It's an incredible view of the Hoover Dam, isn't it, and the bridge?
That's why I like
Wow.
coming down here. It's a beautiful view every day. So when we look out the left-hand side, this coming out of this next little curve, if you see that little white piece of wood right there, that's some of the original guardrails. I don't know what it's going to stop, but they did haul some of the loose gravel and debris back through this tunnel, also into another slot canyon back there. So that's pretty cool. You can see the diversion tunnels now. We can clearly see 3 of them in just 1 second. We'll see the 4th one. It took over 1.5 years to build the diversion tunnels. That's to divert the water around your work site in order to build your dam. It was a massive, massive, massive undertaking at the time, and the technology that they had during the day, but yet they did it. We have a pretty cool tunnel in front of us. Does anybody know what comes out of the tunnel? Isn't that where the transformers come from?
All right, yeah.
I will be back to pick you up in the same van. We'll put you all in the same seats. If you have anything that you have to leave in here, don't hesitate, it will be fine. I would suggest you take everything with you, your hat, your sunglasses, your suntan lotion, whatever else you need for your trip.
Yeah.
We have a series of switchbacks, ramps going down. We're going to go down the ramps. There's a set of steps. We can also go down the steps. If you're going to go down the steps, just be careful grabbing a hold of the railing because it sometimes can get extremely hot. With that being said, at the very back end of this little Jersey barricade is where you want to stop and take your selfie picture back with the bridge and the dam in your background. If anybody needs a porta potty, there's, or as you would say, a portaloo, there's a portaloo there. If you don't need that, we'll head on down. Like I said, the best picture's taking the very back end of the wall before that other van gets down here.
So different when you're down here, isn't it?
It's nice. So we got a 4 foot by 8 foot sign that says do not come beyond here, restricted area. We got 2 buoys out there.
Yeah.
Let's see if this jet ski heeds.
So these are the access to the intake towers.
So the dam just looks absolutely amazing here.
I forgot I gotta get his list. Give me one.
So we're heading down now towards the river area, and it's absolutely fantastic. So warm down here as well. Very, very hot. We just got to go down these steps and we're virtually then onto the raft. Let's head down.
Another shot there of the Hoover down. And actually it's on bridge. On the left hand side. That's good.
And there's the raft that's going to take us out today. This should be absolutely fantastic. You can get a shot of that there. That just looks unbelievable. What a spectacular view we've got there of the Hoover Dam right on the river. It's unbelievable, and just look how high the bridge actually is there. Colossal. So let's get on board the raft. Probably sit near the back, and then we hopefully shouldn't get too wet.
How are you doing? You okay?
How are you?
Yeah, good.
Good. Watch your step coming down. The rock's not very even. Little trip. You got a step getting on. You got, might take a wet towel.
Yeah, but you've
Yeah.
got two
Okay, so
others
just keep in mind, most of the stuff I tell you is true.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
that's good. We're good.
Oh,
No.
60% of the time, he's telling the truth 100% of the time.
These guys are just so friendly and give me lots of informative information. Oh.
Going down, let's get on the boat.
Oh. The dam just looks amazing, doesn't it, from this angle.
Yeah.
Like this.
We've got more people coming down and getting on now.
Big step here.
Incredible
Take a
sight.
towel. Take a
Walking
snake
so
back. There you
far.
go. Hang on.
A few people coming down still. kids have actually got life preserves on.
You go in there, Hey, Glenn. Made it.
We made it.
You're on board. That's a good thing.
Absolutely, we're looking forward to it. It's perfect.
Best ever.
Okay, we will be back to get you folks. We'll be back down to the bottom when we come back to get you, so it'll make life a little easier. We won't make you walk up the hill.
Good to know.
Y'all might want to say goodbye to your bus driver. Could be the last time you ever see him.
So here we go, we're off. This should be really, really
I hope you guys are enjoying this as much as me and Glenn are today on the Colorado River. And there's a good crowd of people on the boat today. Bennett, this is going to be a superb adventure, and everybody is so friendly. Very, very informative.
amazing, isn't it? Just
breeze now.
just being on the river here.
Colorado River. And I guess he's going to take us probably.
So we've crossed now to the other side and we're getting in the shade.
Oh, we're in the shade all of it now. That's perfect. All the holes, it's like Ayers Rock, isn't it?
Yeah. Pretty amazing.
Okay, so my name's Dave. I'm going to be your raft pilot and your raft narrator today for the next hour and a half. Down here on the river, they call me Captain Crash. Hopefully you won't find out why. I brought you over here in the shade. I hope you enjoy the shade. It feels nice, doesn't it? Because it's the last time you're going to see shade the next hour and a half. So a little bit of safety stuff. I've got about 60 life jackets underneath the center cushions if we need life jackets. You're not going to need a life jacket. I just want you to know they're there. And this placard tells you how to put one on. They're pretty simple. You just simply put it over your head, take the belt around your back, and clip it in the front. The reason you're not going to want a life jacket is our water in this river is a constant 53 degrees. Now we are going to make a beach stop. You're going to have a chance to get off the boat. You can get your feet wet. You can go swimming. You can do whatever you want. I don't care. But the water's cold. But usually after an hour in the sun down here on a hot day, it feels pretty good to at least get your feet in the water. We have a fire extinguisher on board. This is a no smoking, no vaping flight. If you brought enough alcohol for me to share, then we're in good shape. Otherwise, you can't drink. That was a joke. So I like to start out by pointing out what this was like for people who came to work on this dam and build it in 1930. So the dam was built between 1930 and 1935, which was a period of the Great Depression in the United States. People came from all over the country to work on this project. Well, the very first thing they had to deal with was how to find it, because there were no roads or highways or freeways or donut shops or 7-Eleven. There was nothing here. This was an ink dot on a map, literally in the middle of nowhere. And people came out here in flatbed trucks and horse-drawn wagons, and they brought mom and dad and the kitchen table and the china cabinet and everything they owned and came out here to work on this job. Now, there was no place for them to live when they came out to work here, so they built a shanty town on the other side of the dam on the banks of the Colorado River. And these buildings consisted of wooden floors, canvas walls, and canvas roofs. They had no electricity, they had certainly no air conditioning, obviously, no running water, and no sanitation. So in fact, they came out here and worked on this project for 5 years, and the whole time they were working, they basically were camping out on the banks of the river. In the shanty town, of course, they built a school for the kids and a little hospital and a church, different things they needed, until Boulder City was built some years later. So it was not only a tough place to work, but it was a tough place to live. Now, our summertime temperatures, it's actually getting pretty cool right now. 2 weeks ago, we were bouncing around 123, 122. Get a little bit of wind combined with that, and it's just like living in a hot oven. And so it gets pretty hot here. The thing about the 120s in the daytime is the evenings cool down to 110. So, you know, you're thinking, man, I got to work in the heat, and you go home and you try to sleep, and you don't get any relief. And in the wintertime, we get to freezing. About 32 is about as maybe 30 degrees, and that usually only lasts a couple of weeks, but it still gets cold, and the wind blows, and it's a miserable place to work. So that's kind of the story of the people that built the dam that came down here to work on this project. We had about 5,000 people come from all over the country to work on the project. It's an incredible, I'm not saying that you should go home and do any homework, but this dam is really an incredible structure in itself, the way it was built and the way it was completed. I'll talk a lot about the different parts of the dam, but one of the things I think is most interesting, the dam is 726 feet tall. The footprint of the dam, that is where the concrete meets the river bottom. That's where the concrete touches the mud. From the face of the dam straight back, that footprint is 660 feet long. So the base of the dam is almost as long as the face of the dam is tall. And people don't, when you think of it, you don't think it in terms of being built that way. The back of the dam comes down and curves like this and goes way out along the river bottom and then drops off.
It's an incredible journey down this. Not only doing a short video, we're doing
So we're off. We are heading out into the water now. We're going to go away from the dam probably in a second, and then head back in.
Now, a couple of things about going back to a little bit of safety. So I gave everybody a wet towel when you got on, and that may not mean a whole lot to you right now, but 45 minutes from now, you're going to be going, Dave, can I dip that towel? So I get my bucket full of water and I pull it right out of the river. So you notice those towels are kind of cold because that's because the river and river water's cold. And if you need a towel, you know, throw me your old towel, I'll dip it and I'll throw it back. Now I don't wring them out and I'm not real accurate, so if the person next to you wants a towel, you better duck when I throw it. So the first thing we had to do, if we're going to build this monstrosity in the middle of the Colorado, and back then this was called the Mighty Colorado, and there was a reason for that. The water level in this river was probably on average about 80 feet higher than we are right now. And it ran at about 25 to 28 miles an hour, and it was full of tree stumps and logs and rocks and gravel and sand. They used to say if you ever fell into the Colorado, you'd never come out. It was a wild, crazy river at times. When there was a lot of snowpack up on the west face of the Rockies, we got a tremendous amount of water down this canyon, and it did a lot of damage. And the farmers down south begged and pleaded with the federal government for years, you guys got to do something with the river. It's killing us. Our crops one year were flooded, the next year we're in a drought. You got to do something. Well, the government was willing to build a dam, but the government didn't see how it was going to be profitable for them to do it until they came up with the idea that, hey, let's build a hydroelectric dam. We can produce electricity, sell the electricity to downtown LA, DWP, and over time we'll get our money back on the investment we spent to build a dam in the first place. So that's actually how they got the dam built. The dam was originally built for flood control, but then became a source of water supply and a lot of other things. I'll talk about that a little bit further down the river. But before you could build this dam on this crazy river, you had to divert it. So the first thing they did was dug these 4 tunnels that you see along the bottom. These were dug as diversion tunnels. They traveled almost a mile past where the face of the dam is into the river area. Once the tunnels were dug, they were dug at a diameter of 58 feet and they were lined with 3 feet of concrete. Once that was complete, they went back into the river about a mile back and started dumping material into the river, and they built an earthen dam and split the water in the river and forced it through these 4 tunnels. When that was completed, they came on this side of the project between the 2 inside tunnels. They built another earthen dam to keep the water from backflowing into the construction site, and that's how they were able to control the water around the dam site while the dam was being built. Later on, the two outside tunnels, they dug tunnels straight up through the mountain 550 feet above us and tied them into the spillways. No water ever comes over the top of a Hoover Dam. It gets to a point and then it hits the spillway system, goes over the spillways, and then travels down the two outside tunnels and comes down the river. The water that is generated by what we're doing right here all comes out of the turbines and comes into the river and all those vent gates you see up there on the lower section of the dam. The dam, when it was built, actually came in 2 years under schedule and about $2 million under budget, which is pretty amazing. Like I said, it was built during the time of the Depression. If y'all ever had a chance to take an interior tour of the dam, it's really an amazing, it's an art structure. It's very Art Deco on the inside. There's mosaic tiles everywhere you look. It's got a very Egyptian style architecture design to it. It really, the inside of that dam is incredibly beautiful. And you wouldn't think during the Depression, when they were just pouring concrete to dam up water, they'd even take the time to do something like that. But they did. So the total project's got about 4.5 million cubic yards of concrete in it. That's enough concrete to pour a 2-lane highway from San Francisco to New York City, 12 inches thick. Have any general questions about the dam I could answer or not? No?
What happened a few weeks ago with all the flooding?
I'm sorry?
Our driver was talking about the flooding that happened.
Well, that was all up in the Grand Canyon.
Okay.
Havasupai Falls. I don't know if you've ever seen that or not. It is an absolutely beautiful, beautiful deal, and it's kind of a lost paradise kind of thing. The water's all crystal blue, clear, and everything else just got destroyed. The flash flood came down and just, I mean, it's been there for hundreds of years, and it just wiped it out. So, take you over here to one of these diversion tunnels. I call this the light at the end of the tunnel. As we get closer, you'll be able to look to the back, and you'll see a white mark on the wall at the back of the tunnel. It actually looks like somebody ran back there with a can of spray paint and made a mark on the tunnel wall. We'll see it here in a second. The reason we call it the light at the end of the tunnel, I don't know if you guys can see that mark back there. You might have to take your sunglasses off. It's about 3 feet above the water, maybe 2 feet above the water, and it's just a mark on the back wall. What that represents, from 550 feet above us, daylight passes over the tunnel, and that's the total amount of daylight that penetrates the tunnel and comes down and shines on the back of that wall. So that's why we call it the light at the end of the tunnel. Now, if you'll notice this whole concrete wall, and then if you look around it, there's all kinds of birds' nests. I don't have any of my little buddies out here this morning. I don't know what happened to them. We have a ton of birds in the river called cormorants. They're a black water bird. They live all over the world. We got about a gazillion of them that live here. And they just always hang around. They build these nests, and a couple of months ago we had all kinds of babies up there chirping. Folks always want to know what the white stuff is on the rock. I just tell them it's what comes out of the south end of a northbound bird. So anyway, that's the light at the end of the tunnel. I don't know if, usually the driver will talk a little bit about this bridge, which is like my favorite thing in the whole world, because I used to have to spend 3 hours going over the dam to get to Phoenix before the bridge was built. The bridge was built between 2005 and 2010, and it actually would have gone up quicker than that, but when they started the construction, the first thing they did was they built tower cranes on both sides of the canyon. And just about the time they got the tower cranes up and the cables all down and everything was good, we had about an 80-mile-an-hour blow come through here and it toppled both cranes. So that backed us up almost a year on the construction. But the amazing thing about the bridge is, I always like to point out, you guys may have seen or been to or know about the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. Well, the Golden Gate Bridge sits 300 feet above the Pacific Ocean. That bridge sits 990 feet above the Colorado River. So that bridge is actually 3 times higher than the Golden Gate. And I'll be the first to admit, sitting here, it doesn't look like it, but measurements are measurements, right? Interesting thing about the bridge, when they built it, they started on both sides of the canyon, and they used concrete slip forms, and they came across like this, poured concrete, they came across and met in the middle. When they came together in the center, they were off by 3/8 of an inch. So that's pretty good engineering.
Yeah.
The other thing I like to point out too is that when the dam was built, we didn't have computers. We had slide rules. And engineers were really good with slide rules. If you saw the movie Apollo 10 where they tried to bring a spacecraft back in it, that was all done on slide rules because they didn't have any of the sophisticated equipment we have done now. But quite a feat. It's the largest concrete arch bridge in the United States, and it has the longest concrete legs supporting a road of any bridge in the United States. Now, folks think that was the first bridge that was ever built over Black Canyon. And by the way, we are in Black Canyon. As we go downriver, we're on the Colorado River. The state of Arizona is on our left. The state of Nevada is on our right. And the whole trip we're in today is in the Black Canyon. If you see the 2 great big holes on the canyon face up here, those are actually filled with concrete, and they were concrete plugs. They had 2 large metal cables attached to each one, and they draped those cables across the river and tied them up to a structure on the Nevada side that isn't there anymore. So once the cables were in and they got some structure built, they planked the whole thing with big, heavy wooden timber. And all of the material that they dug out of the tunnels, they loaded on flatbed dump trucks, and they drove them across the river and downriver and dumped them in a site I'm going to show you. And on its face, that doesn't sound like a lot, but this was 1930. These are Model A dump trucks, flatbeds. I mean, tires are like 6 inches wide. They had 10 tons of dirt on them, and they're driving them across this rickety old bridge. I mean, these people had a lot of nerve. I mean, a lot of nerve. Something I forgot to mention up in front of the dam was that the average day worker that came to work on the dam, he could make as much as $4 a day, which at the time was actually considered to be pretty good money because nobody in the country was working and there weren't any jobs to be had. And to be honest with you, there was no place for them to spend the money, so it kind of worked out as a bonus for them. And then we had a group of specialty workers up here. If you look at the canyon walls up on this side and over here, you see all kinds of loose rock and gravel and boulders. Well, that all had to be cleaned off the canyon faces on both sides of the dam, and if you notice, the canyon face on each side of the dam is smooth and clean. It doesn't have any loose rock. These guys were called high scalers, and the high scalers sat on a wooden bosun's suite or a wooden swing set seat, and they were lowered down into the canyon 200, 300, 400 feet wherever they needed to go. On their backs, they carried a rucksack full of dynamite sticks. And in their lap, they carried an 80-pound pneumatic air drill with air hoses that went up to large air compressors at the top of the canyon. When they found an area that needed to be cleaned off, they would drill a hole in the canyon face. They would stick a piece of dynamite in the hole. They'd light the fuse and then swing away on their rope and knock all that loose rock off the canyon walls. Now, I recently checked, that's still an OSHA-approved method of getting rock off the wall. No, not really. I'm glad you guys know. Anyway, high scalers could make a whopping $7 a day. So they got paid for the fact that they were doing a dangerous job. So this contraption on the Nevada side to your right, people always look at that and go, what the heck is that thing? First thing I want you to notice is there's railroad rails attached to the top of the concrete runners, the concrete boxes. So on those railroad rails was a large railroad flat car, and on the flat car was a very large water pump. The water pump was attached to the piece of rusty pipe you see between the concrete. That's just kind of there as a symbolism kind of thing. But the water pump was attached to a pipe that went between the concrete, and then the water pump pumped water up to the tank at the top, and then from there it was pumped way up to the top. You see those 4 big pipe section sticking out of that concrete wall. That was a sediment tank. Between here and Boulder City, there were about 6 sediment tanks. So they pumped it from tank to tank to tank, and by the time it got to Boulder, they could clean it up and use it for domestic use. But the reason this was built in this configuration, and let me back up, because Boulder City, when they started to build the city, had no natural water supply. And the closest water supply for Boulder City was this river. But because they never knew what the level of the river was going to be, depending on Mother Nature, they had to build that water pump so they could raise and lower it. So you see what looks like a set of concrete stairs actually worked like a pinion gear. There was a large wooden cogged wheel on the left side of the water pump. The cogs and the wheel lined up with the steps, and they could raise or lower that water pump depending upon where it needed to be. They used that for about, I believe, 6.5 years, and then I think they got some wells dug, and they went to a different way of getting water to Boulder. How's everybody doing?
Really good,
Good?
loving it, loving it. It's really good. It's damn good.
You just go back it, but evidently
Get the
not.
good
Okay. I can live with that.
Telling him to get the good side.
So as I pull up to this beach right here, you're going to see a iron pipe that was drilled into the ground and bent over in a half circle and drilled back into the ground. Straight in front of the raft, up about 8 feet. And hang on here because we're going to bump just a little bit. There we go. Hey, listen, don't worry about that. It's not my raft. All right, so what you see straight in front of us, about 8 feet up or 10 feet up, is what we call a ring bolt. The ring bolts were placed by the surveyors that came up here to work on the canyon, do soils testing, and determine the best location to build the dam. The surveyors started to work in the canyon in 1920, so they were up here a full 10 years before any construction ever started on the dam. They had to make a determination on where the dam was going to be built. Now, the reason for the ring bolts is these surveyors would get in flat-bottom wooden rowboats with like 8 to 10 guys on the oars, and they would fight this current coming up the river because, like I said, this was a very nasty river, and they had to have something to tie their equipment off to because if they used a tree or something, their stuff would wash away. And they had to literally bring everything with them that they needed. They had to bring food, clothing, shelter, tools, equipment, you name it, had to come with them. So they put these ring bolts in the canyon and it would tie their boats and equipment off to them so they wouldn't get washed away. And everybody likes the morbid stories about the Hoover Dam, so I will tell you that the first person to die in the construction or related to the construction of the Hoover Dam project was a surveyor. His name was John Tierney. And John was up here working on the rocks doing a survey work on December 20th, 1921, and he slipped off the rocks and they never saw him again. And then the last man to die in the construction of the Hoover Dam project fell off an intake tower on the Arizona side, on the other side of the dam, and he died on December 20th, 1935. So the first man and the last man to die on this project died on the same date, 14 years apart. And really, I guess what makes that even more tragic is the last man to die, his name was Patrick Tierney. He was John's only son.
Oh my God.
So we figured December 20th was not a good day for this here.
How many fatalities total?
Right at 100. At 98, 99, 100. You know, it bounces back and forth, but I just say 100 and kind of round it off. You know, what I think is interesting about the dam is, like I said, it took five years to build and a $50 million project. It would cost more today to do an environmental impact study than it cost to build that dam. So, whatever.
Less bureaucracy.
Picking up speed now in the raft and we're going down the river. Look at all the rock formation there. It's just absolutely outrageously out of this world. It's beautiful, and look how blue the river actually looks. Unbelievable.
I'm going to cover all of this on our way back. I got a radio call from one of our pilots who said they spotted a bunch of sheep up here by Boy Scout Canyon. So I'm gonna, or by Gold Strike. So I'm gonna try to see if I can go see some sheep, and then we'll pick up the tour after that.
Got all gear here, but he's going to tell us about all that when we come back. But we're just now going to head up the river here, and it's just absolutely beautiful. So glad we've done this tour today. And apparently there's some sheep up here, so we're going to go and have a look at them as well, which should be really, really good. Look how calm the river actually is. And I'll just look behind me there at the water we're turning out.
So glad we've done this on a cooler day.
Can you imagine what it's like doing this when it's 120, 125 degrees? It's bad enough now, me sitting here at about 100. But 120 must be just unbelievable. Didn't realise there was so much greenery, so much shrubbery on the edge of the river either.
So back in the day, and by that I mean about 12 million years ago, we actually had like 5 active volcanoes in the Black Canyon. Well, they're all gone now. We don't need to worry about them anymore, but we still have a tremendous amount of thermal activity where we have pressures in the earth and steam that forces water up through the rock and into the canyon. And as we go on our little trip this morning, I'll probably show you 3 or 4 different areas where you're going to see examples of hot water being forced into the canyon. One of them is right here on our left. This isn't very big. You'll see a trickle of water coming down the canyon wall and flowing into the river, but that's basically a natural hot spring. That particular water right there, it runs at about 98 degrees. It's not super warm, but that's just a small trickle. But as I come around the corner, we've got a place to our right on the Nevada side. So you see that cave, we call that wrong place. We call that the Steam Grotto. And the reason for it is, I don't know if you guys can see the water coming down that canyon wall. Look to the cave on the right. But look to the cave on the right, but the left-hand side.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll see a flow of water coming down the canyon. Now, our water's gotten pretty low here, and I'm not sure I can clear that. I'm going to try, but I can get closer to that. But anyway, that's called a Steam Grotto. The reason for that is when the water in the river gets high enough, like I said, our water in the river is a constant 53 degrees. The water coming out of that canyon wall has been measured at 180 degrees. So that's very, very hot. You wouldn't want to go over there and stick your hand in it.
It's amazing really when you think how hot that water is as it comes out of there. That's that cave directly in front of me, and I can see the water there now running. Don't know whether the camera's picking it up there, but there's water running out of the rock. It's amazing.
Clearly see the hot spring coming down, so that water coming through the rocks at 98 degrees. So yeah, pretty cool.
Anyway, that's Steam Grotto right here.
Got a tremendous view there again of the bridge. You can't actually see the Hoover Dam from here, but that looks really, really good.
Can you find any marine life here, like fish?
I'm sorry?
Can you find any marine life, like fish or?
Oh, we have a lot of fish in here, yeah. We have about 6 or 7 different species of fish. Fishermen come up here all the time, they do a lot of fishing. I was, people don't believe me, I was on the river about 2 weeks ago, and I've been on and off doing this for about 9 years.
Yeah.
And about 2 weeks ago, I actually came across a beaver.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm looking in the water and this thing is swimming, and I'm like, man, that looks like an otter. And I'm like, we don't have otters in the river. And I got up next to him, and his flat black tail was about 12 inches long and about 8 inches wide, and just a big old beaver. And I had never seen a beaver on this river before. And then also about 10 days ago, and this was really weird, we had a mountain lion kill a bighorn sheep, a large male ram, right on the beach down not too far from Willow Beach. And I know mountain lions exist, but I've never heard of one or seen one in this area. But that was kind of a shocker to everybody. Okay, this is not a beach stop. I'm just going to stop here because I want to point something out to you. So if you look upriver on the Nevada side, which is to the left, all right, just about straight in line with where I'm standing, go to the top of the green tree line and you see a white sign that's about 2 feet by 2 feet. You guys see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I want you to go about 15 feet to the right of that sign and up about 6 feet and you see a big black hole in the rock.
Yep.
You guys got that? Okay, listen, I'm going to be pointing out things to you today, and for all you guys that don't see what I'm talking about, I'll hand out the Helen Keller Awards at the end of the trip. Okay, whatever. Anyway, the locals, who I am part of, we call that the sauna cave. And how that came about was back in the 20s when they were trying to decide where they were going to build the dam, they came up and did a lot of soils testing. And the reason for the soils testing is we have a lot of sandstone and limestone veins that run through this canyon. You cannot build the dam and hook it into limestone. It won't hold. So they came up with a big drill rig and a 9-foot auger, and they cut that hole in the mountain and they went straight back about 40 feet. And when they got to the end of 40, they had a hard left turn and went about 100 feet. And then they ran into some really hot water, so they abandoned the dig. So they got the equipment out of there, and the locals rushed up there immediately and got sandbags and dammed up the front of that hole about 20 inches high. So now when you step over the sandbags, you're stepping into water that's about 102 degrees. And then it's pitch black unless you bring a flashlight. So as you're going to the back of the cave, you're feeling the sides and you're feeling the ceiling and trying to figure out where you're going until you just run smack dab to the end of it. But we call it the sauna cave. And as you get to the end of that 140 feet, the water now is about waist deep. And like I said, it's about 102 degrees. Now I'm sure a lot of you folks have been in a sauna. But I will tell you, you have never been in a sauna that's 140 feet deep in a solid rock mountain in 102. I mean, every pore in your body, you are just... I tell people you got to be a member of the pain club to enjoy it, but what I really mean is it's an experience. It's not comfortable, but it's a cool thing to do, if that makes any sense. Anyway, that's our sauna cave.
And there's them caves again, so we can have a look now on the side of the boat as we go back past. Let's just zoom in and hopefully you'll see it. And we're heading up the river again now. Beautiful. Scenery's just absolutely spectacular.
Also, I meant to point out, if you look upriver on the Nevada side to the left, you see all that smooth rock coming down the canyon wall? That was one of the dump sites that they used from when they were taking material out of the tunnels. The other dump site is right here. You see all this rock, a small rock and gravel and whatnot, and it goes all the way up to the top. If you follow it all the way to the top, you'll see steel bars and cable and chunks of wood. They just drove the truck up there and dumped it and let it flow down the canyon wall.
Was that piece of land part of the dump?
I'm sorry?
Was that piece of land like part of the dump material?
No, that's actually, most of the time that's underwater.
Really?
Yeah, we're just down a little bit this morning. They call that rearranged beach. They dump all the kayakers. About where I picked you all up, they put all the kayakers in their boats, and they're all in a big hurry to get on the water and jump in their boats and head down, and they get about that far and they pull up on the beach and they just rearrange everything in the kayak. So. Now this is Gold Strike Canyon, and they never discovered any gold in Gold Strike, but again, this is an area where there's about 7 different locations that water flows into the canyon, and the locals have gone up and dammed up pools. There's about 7 pools in the canyon as you hike down, and trailheads on the east side of Bullhead, Boulder City. I just want to point out as we go by, if you look up into the canyon, and not real high, maybe up around 20 feet, you'll see a white mark coming down between 2 big rocks. That is the last little waterfall of the 7th pool in that canyon. I can see that white line coming down. It's kind of hard to see. But anyway, just another example of hot water that flows into the canyon. Okay, so if you look in these rocks and it's hard to see, but there's a sheep right on top of this rock right here eating grass. There's another one in the rock.
I've got him, yeah.
2 or 3 in the rocks
Yeah,
here.
so the sheep
You
are
just
there.
have to look for movement.
I don't know whether the camera will zoom in enough for you actually see, but it should be right in the centre of the picture.
Those are both females.
It's a damn sheep.
I think thumbs up loving this.
Still there, look, still grazing.
Yeah.
Just try and zoom in on him again for you there. There's actually 2, isn't there? One by the rock eating the tree, and then the other one at the top. Amazing. Absolutely remarkable. So glad we've seen them. Beautiful beyond this raft as well. Never been on a raft before, but really, really good. He's trying to come closer in for me there now, so I'll just zoom again, and you should be able to see him. One's just gone behind the rock. He's there, climbing up the rock. That is just amazing. And the other one's there at the top.
There's a 3rd one above them.
Look at that. Whoa, look at him jump.
That's just incredible, isn't it, how they run up there.
And they're just standing on the edge of the rock now. It's wonder they don't
see
fall.
The one above them?
I've got him, yeah.
There's
Yeah.
three. There's usually you see 4 or 5 at a time. So.
Are they usually in a herd, like one group?
They're pretty cool when you get out here and they're really moving. Those guys that go straight up the rocks like it's not even there. You know, they really are.
They're that quick. Yeah. Just amazing how they stand on the rock, isn't it, like that? And they don't fall.
Oh, that's cool. I'm glad we got to see some. We normally don't get them this far up the canyon. This is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's good. So we have seen some sheep, eh? Canyon is just so tall there. It's unbelievable. It's just remarkable to be sailing through here, really. Yeah, very good, amazing. So we're carrying on now further upstream. I'll just look at the rocks here for you as we start being passed. They are absolutely amazing. Look at it. It's just so rugged. It's just beautiful as we head up here. And we keep going. The water just looks so super and blue. It's just remarkable. Look at the rocks here, the Black Canyon rocks here. They just look outside to this world. It's just amazing. I can't tell you here now just how hot I actually am.
Okay, in front of us is a place called Lone Palm Canyon. As we get closer, you're going to see a waterfall. This is the largest waterfall we have on this end of the canyon. It's to your left on the Arizona side. The reason it's called Lone Palm is there used to be a huge palm tree right in front of that waterfall, and about 4 years ago it fell over and died. Now, Lone Palm's got kind of an interesting history to it. First thing I want to tell you is down here on the river, we try to promote a good spirit and a goodwill. So whenever we see somebody, we always want to say howdy. We always want to wave to them, say hello, be friendly, you know, that kind of thing. So what happened here at Lone Palm is the locals went up to the top of this water flow and they built a sandbag wall, and they built a very large pool on the back side of this waterfall. It's about a 30-foot diameter. The water's about 3 feet deep, and the water temp's about 100 degrees. And so on the weekends, this can be very popular in the summertime. We get a lot of people out here partying. Lone Palm's always had kind of a reputation for being like a naturalist area. People kind of come out here to commune with Mother Nature, if you know what I mean. So a lot of times when we go by, if there's nobody there today, but a lot of times when we go by, we'll wave and say howdy, and sometimes people stand up and wave back. I guess that could be a good thing or a bad thing depending upon how you feel about it. I brought a group of Boy Scouts through here a couple of years ago, and I was talking to them about being friendly and all that. We went by this pool, and there were 3 young ladies up there playing in the water, and I said, boys, wave to the girls, you know. Say hello.
There's the waterfall.
Those 3 girls stood up and waved back at him. The raft got really quiet. Man, I'm in trouble. We got back to the marina, and them kids got off the boat. They said, Captain Crash, that is the best raft trip we have ever been on. No, it worked out good.
Yeah, so it's just amazing. There's a waterfall here, and it's just so so dry, but that keeps flowing. Look at the palm trees there as well, the green palm trees, how they've grown, and there must be a damp area. And there you are, Neil, if you're watching. There's a jet ski. You could bring yours here and ski down to the Hoover Dam. So yeah, that waterfall's just absolutely amazing there. Really, really glad I've seen that. So we're picking up speed now and we're blasting up river. That's a nice breeze as we go, feels really, really good. And we've got somebody fishing there. They're on a boat and they're actually doing some fishing here in Black Canyon. What a trip this is. It's just been absolutely wonderful. So glad we come on it. Daryl's got his cover on his face, stop himself burning. It is so hot here. We're having an absolute great time. I'll say there's a guy there fishing, as you'll probably see. But look at the black rocks here. They are absolutely stunning. Really, really good. It looks as if we're carrying on further up the river. It's amazing just to think we're just in this big gorge with the Colorado River flowing through it. Absolutely fantastic. And again, let's have a look at it on this side, and if I turn that way, we're not far from the Hoover Dam and we can see the big bridge over the road. It looks like this could be the stop we're going to make. So this could be like the interval. So there you are, we're docking up there at the beach. So yeah, everybody's getting out and
Hey, my
having a look.
suggestion would be to stay on the sand or the rock. I wouldn't be walking through the green grass, just as a safety.
You never know what's in there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, I do know what's in there. That's why I said stay out of it.
So yeah, we've got people all in the water there. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some. Oh, that's all right. You can do that. I'm just gonna get some colder. It gets warm out.
So it does look absolutely amazing here now as you look at this canyon. Like I say, we've got people just paddling about in the water, dipping the towels in. It's pretty unique. boat guy's in the water there now as well. He's just soaked his hat. And look at the two jet skis there coming, tearing down. They are absolutely flying down there. Amazing. They're just flying down there. I bet Neil would love to be on that. And look at the beach here. The beach is just amazing as well there as you have a look at it. So people are going back on.
That's better that way.
Well, you know, I tell folks, and again, I mean, today's warm, but it's not, you know, not bad. But a lot of you come out
Looking up the canyon there, and here at the back how shadowed and shaded it actually is. Yeah, it's fantastic. People are just enjoying paddling in the water there, and a lot of people now are getting back on the boat. Remarkable. Driver's getting back on the boat there now.
What's your feet?
friends? Oh, yeah. Well, children's club. I'm afraid I don't even know who Percy Jackson is.
So we're off again. We've just come on where we launched up the beach. Everybody's back on the boat, and that's been really, really good.
Beautiful beach.
So it looks as if we're still going go further down. Don't know how much further he is going to take us. But that has been very, very good so far. I really, really enjoyed it. So I've drunk now nearly a full bottle of water. It's that hot on here. Luckily I have got another one with me in the bag. They give you one and I brought one myself. So I probably will need that again in a second. As we head further down the river here. So let's go down further. Still amazing in this canyon area. Everywhere just looks so good. Just look at the rock formation there. It's just out of this world. And you've got like a little boat path in there. You could go and tie your boat up and hide away there. I don't know how far we're actually in this big canyon for, so it levels out one side, or whether it carries on like this for a long, long way.
Okay, so there's two things I want to show you down here and talk a little bit about the river. If you'll notice on the Arizona side, there's an orange triangle, and on that triangle it says the number 62. What that is, it's a mile marker. What that tells me is the next dam in succession on the river is Davis Dam, and that tells me I'm 62 miles from Davis Dam or above Davis Dam. Now, I don't know where you guys are all from, and I don't know how much you know about the Colorado River, but I'll just give you a brief description. So the Colorado starts up on the west face of the Rocky Mountains, and it's created by nothing more than melted snow. And the snow melts on the west face of the Rockies and starts to flow into the Colorado River, and then you get all or part of the Snake River, the Green River, the Virgin River. There's about 6 different rivers up there that flow partially or all into what we call the Colorado. And then the Colorado flows down into Lake Powell in Utah, and Lake Powell was created by the Glen Canyon Dam. And then water flows below the Glen Canyon Dam and flows through the Grand Canyon, and then comes into Lake Mead, which is created by the Hoover Dam. And then water goes below the Hoover Dam, which is obviously where we are right now, flows down into Lake Mojave, and then Lake Mojave is created by the Davis Dam. Water's released below Davis, flows down through Laughlin and Needles, California, and goes into Lake Havasu, Arizona. Lake Havasu is created by the Parker Dam. So you have 4 major dams creating 4 major lakes, all on the same river on the western part of the United States. Now, the Colorado currently provides water to about 40 million Americans on the western part of the United States, and we take care of about 2.5 million acres of agricultural land down in the Imperial Valley. There's a huge demand on this river, and you guys have probably heard lately all the talk about, you know, the sky is falling, or we're going to run out of water, and whatever. They never want to talk, you know, we talk a lot about global warming or whatever, but they never want to talk about the increase in demand. 50 years ago, the demand on this river was probably half of what it is today. So, along with all of the other problems we have in conjunction with the water, is the fact that we just have a lot of people pulling water out of this river. The other thing I wanted to show you was on top of this mountain right here, as we go past, just this little mountain, you'll see these round red cactus. They're all over the place, but there's a bunch of them that happen to be right on top of that rock. Those are called barrel cactus. Well, we call them barrel cactus. They actually have a scientific name for them, but because I'm not a scientist, I'm just going with barrel cactus. But there's kind of a misnomer about barrel cactus that I like to talk about or like to tell. The trouble is, you guys are all too young to remember the Roy Rogers Cowboy Show on Saturday morning TV. But Roy had a sidekick. His name was Gabby Hayes, and Gabby was a crusty son of a gun. I'm telling you, this guy was a miner, he was a drunk, he was always in trouble. Gabby would get on his horse and come into town on Friday night, go in the saloon, get drunk, get on his horse, ride out in the middle of the desert, fall off his horse go back to the barn. Gabby wake up in the morning, dying of thirst. He'd start walking back to town. He's on his way back to town, he's in the middle of the desert, dying of thirst, comes across a barrel cactus, pulls his gun out, shoots a hole in the barrel cactus, and a stream of water comes out of the cactus, saves his life. I just want you guys to know, if you ever find yourself in the middle of the desert and you're dying of thirst, and you come across a barrel cactus, you're going to die of thirst. There's no water in it. All right, we're going to take a little boat ride, just enjoy the scenery. I'm going to go back up, well, obviously from where we started, but we're going to take a boat ride for about 10-12 minutes, and then I've got some other things I want to show you. Anybody have any questions about anything? Anybody got a towel they want to get wet? Come on, people. The highlight of my day. Seriously, nobody wants a wet towel?
No.
Okay.
So we're going to take about a 10-minute boat ride now back towards, I don't know how long we'll last for, but the camera did overheat there, so I'll just do a little bit more recording as we ride up here now, then I'll probably stop again and let it cool down. Just look there at the water and all the rocks as we come in. So we're right by the edge, and it does look beautiful. We've got all the shrubbery, and if I look in front of me there, the boat is going forward, and you can see the beautiful Colorado River. So I've got a wet towel now just on the camera, just try and keep it a little bit cool so I can carry on videoing for you as we start heading in. It's beautiful, and everybody I think on board here is really enjoying the trip as well. Can't tell you how hot it actually is, but my word, it's warm. Look at the palms here, they look absolutely amazing. And I think just somewhere here we've got that waterfall, so I'll just zoom in a little bit there, and we should hopefully, yeah, there, see the waterfall coming into the water there. Wonder where all that water actually comes from. It's just so dry here, we haven't had any rain or anything like that for months and months and months.
I actually feel the spring on the boat.
I can see now the bridge
I've got a huge smile on the face.
as I'm coming along.
And I think
That looks fantastic.
Hoover Dam. Rafting.
I'm just going to have another drink now. Just finish this bottle of water off. I don't think I'd have been able to survive without that. But this rafting tour has been absolutely fantastic. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't know it even existed, but I was watching a YouTube channel, a lady called Norma Gall, who does do a lot of YouTubing in the Las Vegas area, and she actually come on it, and that's how I knew it existed. As soon as I saw her video, I realised it was something we'd got to do, and we looked into it and booked it. So a big thumbs up and a big thank you to Norma Gall there for sharing it with me. And check out her channel, she does do some fantastic Vegas videos, and she keeps doing them to this day. So we're heading back now towards the Hoover Dam, so we should get some absolutely fantastic views of that in a second. And like I say, it just looks remarkable as we're coming in here. I'm just putting my towel again on the camera, just try keep it cool so we don't get this overheat again. Let's just have a look at the rock formation again there, and we'll turn around and have a look at Daryl. He's enjoying doing his video.
So the Colorado River starts off up in the Colorado Mountains.
And I will say the people on this tour are so friendly. The people who drive you here, they are very friendly and informative. And the tour guide we've had here, he's just been next to none. He's been incredible.
Down through the Grand Canyon into Lake Mead and the Hoover Dam. And then
So yeah, we're still going on the trip, and we're getting further up now towards the Hoover Dam. Let's just have a look as we come closer into the shoreline again. It's all the rocks and everything there, and it looks as if we're slowing down.
So here you get a little better view of that dump site I was talking about. You can see it with the timbers and the steel
And there's
and
your
cable and whatnot.
dump site there.
They just drove it up to the top of the cliff and just let it all run down and fall
You
down.
can see all the steel and everything there just waiting to come down. That's amazing, really, how they used to just dump
Yeah,
things there.
It's all left over. It's almost 100 years old, that stuff.
So we carried on again now. He's putting his foot down on the boat.
Like,
I'm sorry?
did they collect the guano and sell it for a lot of money or something?
No.
It's not here.
They just cleaned up the construction site and kind of didn't give a lot of thought to, you know. I mean, actually, they cleaned a lot of it up and it looked pretty good, but some of it got away from them, you know.
So we're going again, and looks like we're going to this next area where he is going to tell us a little bit more about what he didn't tell us when we were coming down the other way. So this should be quite... Just turn the camera off then for a couple of seconds, because we were getting quite a lot of spray that was hitting the camera, and it's coming again now, so might have to turn off again. We'll see how it goes. Not too bad at the moment. We are slowing down, so we should be okay again.
Okay, I want you to look at this flat wall on our right, on the Arizona side. If you look at that cliff face, there's a horizontal crack and a vertical crack. So count that as 4 squares. I want you to go to the square on the bottom right, okay? And where the vertical crack is, I want you to go about 10 feet to the right of the vertical crack, where the stone starts to turn from dark to light. There's one indicator is that there's a round hole right there, about 10 feet to the right of the crack, down low, about 20 feet up. You see that round hole?
Yeah.
Well, to the right of that round hole, there's a mark that says 17.33 with a line underneath it. You guys see that mark up there?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that is an original surveyor's mark that was put up there over 100 years ago. So what I think is interesting about that, a couple things. Number one, these guys didn't have spray cans. So they had a little metal tin with a lid on it of white paint and a brush. And every place they wanted to make a mark on the canyon wall, they had to crawl up there and get their brush and actually draw it right on the wall. The other thing I think is amazing is that paint's over 100 years old. And you can still see it pretty good, which meant the quality of the paint back then was halfway decent. Now, straight up from the raft, you're going to see another ring bolt. A little bit to the right of the raft. You can see the ring bolt right up here on top of the edge of the rock. You guys see that?
Yep.
Well, that was the level of the water at the time that ring bolt was put in the ground. So that's how high the water was in the river. That's also, that ring bolt went in, they tied their equipment off, and he walked over and made that mark on the canyon wall. So like I said, the water at times was a lot higher. I'm sorry? Well, the water would have been that high that they could pull their boat up there and you could put that mark on the wall.
Does it ever reach that level nowadays?
Oh, no. Even when, in '83, even when the lake flooded and the water came over the spillways, we were probably, if you looked at the wall over there, we were probably where the white line is. So what we got here is, this is called a gauger station, and we had a group of people that were called gaugers, They got on the rocks back about where I picked you folks up, and then they walked down, and you could see the frames for the catwalk system. They'd get on the catwalk and walk all the way down until they got to the gauger station. Got tools and equipment, whatever they needed, and it continued down. You see this big rock sticking out of the water with a metal cage on top of it. There used to be a steel cable that ran across the river, and on that cable was a little iron bucket with an overhead frame and wheels on it. And the gauger would get into that bucket and pull himself overhead on that cable to get to the middle of the river, and he would drop instrumentation down into the water to get the readings that he needed to be able to inform the dam what was going on down here. Now, you got to remember, back then, we didn't have computers. So everything was done with slide rules and opening and closing valves, and you needed somebody down here to keep an eye on what the flow of the water was doing and how much was being released so they could gauge it and control it at the dam. So the gauger's job was to let the people at the dam know what was going on down on the river. They used to maintain this and keep it up because they wanted the public to be able to come up and enjoy it. After 9/11, this whole area has been closed down. Actually, from that big rock, private boats are not allowed up here. Obviously, they still come up here, but they're not supposed to. They put about 200 cameras in the canyon around the dam. I wish I'd have found out about those cameras a little sooner. Anyway. As I'm going upriver on the Arizona side, this big concrete box up here on the side of the canyon, that was just part of there used to be a large warehouse and tool crib room up there, and that was just part of the foundation that supported it. It's hard to imagine this canyon back when they were building the dam, because there was all kinds of equipment, machinery, they had roads up there, they had vehicles going down both sides. And then after they finished the construction, they just kind of closed it all in. Some of it they didn't bother to take out because it would have been too much work. For example, that big concrete box right there. There's one last thing I want to show you down here.
So he's really, really informative, and he's told me a lot about this. It's been an absolutely fabulous trip. He's going to show us one last thing before we head into Hoover Dam. But just looking at the dam there, it just does look absolutely. I did have to just stop there because the river was just bouncing up on us and wetting my camera, so that's why we just went blank just for a minute or two there. But look at it again here now as you see the Hoover Dam. It's just absolutely remarkable, and the bridge there, just look how high the roadway bridge is. You just can't imagine it.
Alright, something I want to show you real quick. If you look up the canyon wall right here, there's this big white spot. You'll see there's a couple of ring bolts at the bottom with boards hanging off of them, and then there's a piece of wood above that sticking out of the canyon. You see that contraption up there? Alright, well, the first thing I want to point out is you see the height of the ring bolts with the boards hanging off of them? That again was the level of the water at the time those ring bolts were put in. So that gives you an idea how high the water could have gotten in this river at any given time. And then the board up above it with the 4 holes in it, you all see that? I don't know what that is, but I have a theory I thought I'd share with you. So you got these guys out here working, the high scalers, right? They're knocking rock off the cliff walls. They're putting in a hard day, it's hot, it's break time. They gotta have a cup holder. So I'm thinking maybe they put that up there so the high scalers would have a cup holder. I like that. Let's go with that. I haven't gotten anybody to buy that, but that's what I'm going with. It actually looks like a cup holder on a 68 Chevy Surfer van.
Yeah.
But that's a whole other story. Anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, we've had an absolutely fantastic ride.
Folks, it's been a pleasure. I hope you enjoyed our little tour today. You were a great group. I enjoyed having you out. You all travel safe going home, wherever home might be. When I get over here, I'm going to pull up on the rocks. I got to leave the motors running and the boat in gear. So let me get to the front and make sure I can help you get off so nobody falls in any holes.
So we're heading in now. Let's just have a look around as we do that, and look over here and just have another final look at the Hoover Dam from down below, and how high the Hoover Dam actually is. It's amazing. Like I say, the trip has just been out of this world, really. Let's just look now this way as the boat comes into the rocks here. And we've got the vans waiting there to take us back. So thanks very much to all these tour guides. It's been fantastic, and yeah, really enjoyed it. And we're on shore.
Watch yourself. Watch your toes.
Yeah.
All right, those snack bags are yours to keep. If you would like, just leave the towel on the seat and you'll be in good shape. Probably best step right here. All right, thank you very much. We're going to move with it. You all right?
So yeah, everybody's getting off. They've all had a really, really good time.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it very much.
Came down with me, we're in the upper van.
Step right here. As I throw you off the boat.
Let's get off the boat.
Okay. Good. Bye, guys.
It was really, really good.
Russ,
No.
or whatever his name is going to be, we're going to call him.
This is Dave.
Dave.
Here we go, Dave. Dave.
Crap.
Dave.
Oh.
So yeah, there's the
Attached to the
raft
ground, so
we've been on. That's
I'm
been
not
absolutely
sure if that was
fantastic.
somebody from the city,
I know, he's
So a big thank you
in
to
a bit
Dave
of
there.
a pickle for what he
sure you
did
give
at
him-
Arlington the other day.
Oh yeah.
They were having a funeral for some guys and
So let's get up to the buzz, eh?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been absolutely brilliant here.
that it is.
Oh, that was
Quite the trip.
yeah. So what can I say? In America, awesome. In England, brilliant, I guess.
Brilliant.
So we're going to get now
You bet.
back into the van, and he's going to take us back to the hotel. Brilliant.
Is everybody here?
Yes.
Okay, if not, speak up now.
That time's gone so fast.
Doesn't it though?
Yeah.
Bringing up 15 from postcard. I'm glad you all had a good time.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
And if you have not walked out on the bridge, do yourself a favor, and you guys have got your own car.
Yeah.
Drive on down there and
Yeah.
walk out on the bridge. and you get some just absolute breathtaking views of the dam.
We've done it
Super
many
close.
times, haven't we?
Yeah.
What's
yeah.
that?
We've walked it many times.
you have?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, it is awesome there, isn't it? Incredible.
It is. Now everybody think really, really, really light thoughts. We got a lot of hill to climb.
Yeah, it's certainly steep up there, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. I just overheated at one point.
Okay, I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
And today was a nice cool day so far.
I just put the wet towel on it for a couple of minutes and
I say just dump it under, and swirl it around.